YouTube. Like us, follow us, and be the first to know. This is the Comrade Show. The Comrade Show with Comrade Lante Oriaki. Live on Facebook and YouTube. Like us, follow us, and be the first to know. This is the Comrade Show. The Comrade Show with Comrade Lante Oriaki. Live on Facebook and YouTube. Like us, follow us, and be the first to know. This is the Comrade Show. The Comrade Show with Comrade Lante Oriaki. Live on Facebook and YouTube. Like us, follow us, and be the first to know. This is the Comrade Show.
Yes. Hello and good evening to you, fellow Nigerians all across the world. My name is Comrade Lante Oriaki, and this is the Comrade Show, and I'm glad to welcome you to this edition of the Comrade Show. Of course, like you know, I have the Musketeers with me right in the house. And of course, like you know, we have a lot of issues around our country. Every day we wake up, there's something new. And in recent days, there's been a lot going on. One of the talking points has been, the interview the President of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, granted Arise Television and the fallout of that interview. And of course, a couple of days after that, we had June 12th. And June 12th was characterized, by protests all across Nigeria. Now, on this show tonight, we're going to be looking at, the fallout of all of these things, the protests across the country, the president, and of course, the issues he discussed with Arise Television, and how, Nigerians are looking at the way the president addressed, the Nigerian people. And of course, we're going to be looking at Edo State as well, particularly looking at Edo State in the manner with which the protest was organized in Edo State, against the backdrop of what we saw across different parts of the country, particularly Lagos State, and all of that. We're not going to do, without much ado, I want to quickly just break on the team of Musketeers. Like you know, for the purpose of this program, everybody is a comrade. And it is my honor and privilege to bring on my brother, Comrade Dr. Tony Agbons. Dr. Agbons.
Our people bring all of that very sweet, warm greetings. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are watching us in the world. I hope we had a very good week. Good to be back here, and thank you for joining us. If you are with us, please share this broadcast, YouTube, Facebook. Share the broadcast, please. Thanks for joining us. I greet you, my brother, Comrade Lant.
Thank you so much. So this is the Comrade and Friends. And of course, the Comrade and Friends as a program has got a nickname. And it's called the Sunday Tonic. And the man who has credit for that nickname is what is called in the house. He is one of the very core musketeers of the Comrade Show. He's none other but Comrade Pharmacist Austin Iremiran. You are welcome, my brother. Comrade Austin, you are on.
Oh, now good morning wherever you are in the globe. And to my brother, Comrade Lante Oriaki, and our senior doctor of letters, Dr. Tony Agbons. I greet you plenty. Our viewers, I say God bless you for joining us. We can relax, stay tuned, and enjoy our Sunday tonic.
Okay, guys, we've had some development as far as Nigeria is concerned. Yesterday there was national protests, okay, to mark the Democracy Day, which ought not to be, but that is where we find ourselves right now. But before we come to the national protests, there's an issue that's supposed to be a burning issue. This issue, if it's happening in a different environment, a more civilized environment, so to speak, it will be a national issue that will be on the lips of everybody. And what is this issue? Let us take a listen to what the president said in response to the issue of Niger Republic.
Yes, I was commending you on the infrastructure. The government has done quite a bit on infrastructure, but there is also something about infrastructure that is surprising to many Nigerians. You are carrying a lot of this infrastructure to Niger Republic. Road, rail, people are wondering what is the attraction of Niger Republic? Why is there obsession by the Buhari administration towards Niger Republic?
How many neighbors do you have? Both of individual and the national rule. You have to cultivate your neighbor. If you don't, you are in trouble. If you could recall when I came, I went to Chad, I went to Niger, I went to the Cameroon. Look at what happened with Boko Haram. If we are not in the good relationship with Niger and Chad and Cameroon, Boko Haram would have done worse things to us than this. And you say I'm carrying to Niger. I told you the border between us and Niger is 1,500 kilometers. And in Niger, you see, I spoke to one Frenchman, and I have to tell you this. He spoke nonsense. I say, you people in 1885, you sat down with ruler and pencil and draw lines. I say, I have first cousins in Niger. There are Kanuris, there are houses, there are Fulanis in Niger Republic.
I have first cousins in Niger. And because the president of Nigeria has first cousins in Niger, that is why 1/3 or almost so of our national budget on infrastructure, as far as the Nigerian state is concerned, is earmarked to develop Niger Republic. Now, what we are saying is that the Buhari government is taking our rail lines to Niger Republic. Roads are being constructed to link Niger Republic. What's it called? A crude oil reservoir are being built with multi-millions, even in dollars, in Niger Republic. Now, the president is telling us because he's got first cousins in Niger Republic. This is an issue. And surprisingly, it is not yet a matter of national debate. I don't think this can happen in any other part of this world. Now, even when the president was explaining, he said, we need to draw our neighbors close. Okay? Are we the only ones to draw our neighbors close? Will our neighbors not draw us close? Now, he mentioned Chad. He mentioned Cameroon. But the attraction with Niger Republic is not the same with Chad. It's not the same with Cameroon. While the borders of the Nigerian state was closed to other countries, it was open to Niger Republic. Today, insecurity is the way it is right now, as bad as it is, because our borders was open to Niger Republic and to some of these other countries that harbor lots of Fulanis. And the president in this particular interview, a segment of this interview, did say that the government of Nigeria found out that many of the Fulanis carried out and perpetrating, criminal activities, terrorism in Nigeria. They are not from Nigeria, but they are from outside the country. And meanwhile, this is a man saddled with the responsibility to protect the territorial integrity of the Nigerian state. Is the president from Niger Republic? If he is from Niger Republic, should a Nigerian be the president of Nigeria? Dr. Agbons, what do you have to say?
Yeah, thank you, my brother Comrade Lamte, for the video clip and for the framework you have developed for this discussion. I watched the Arise TV news interview, and I was really very disturbed with the admission by the president that he's got first cousins in Niger Republic. I was really disturbed. And I know where we come from. We always talk of my brother, my sister. So I had to really, let me go and check again, so that I don't want to, say certain things to our viewers that I have not really sure of. So who is a cousin? So, and what I found out is that, and which of course I knew before, I just wanted to confirm, is that the son or daughter of an aunt or uncle is your cousin. So if our president is saying that he has first cousins in the Niger Republic, then that goes to buttress the fact that the literally two words we've been hearing, because they said behind every rumor there's some element of truth. They say no, there's no smoke without fire. So for him to have openly say on national TV, on a global broadcast like that he got first cousin, the thing is really concerning for me. So there's every possibility that he's got his root from Niger. And this is something that we really need to really dig into. I remember when General Abacha was president, we were also told that he was also from Niger. So the whole thing is, just shows that our porous borders, there are people from Niger, they can just come to Nigeria, they just get our passport. Yeah, I know that it's easy for somebody to move to another country. When you live there, after some time, you become part of it. But these things have to be properly documented and reflected. So this admission that I have first cousins in Niger by President Buhari is really concerning for me.
Thank you very much, Dr. Agbons. I will quickly go on to pharmacist Iremira. Now, the issue of Buhari being from Niger may not actually be the focal point per se. It should be, but it may not be. But he is adducing that he's got first cousins in the Niger Republic. That is why Nigeria is pumping billions of naira into developing Niger Republic. Now, I mean, somebody, Victor, I think Victor on Facebook, is just saying right now that the southern part of Nigeria don't even have half of these infrastructures that have been earmarked for Niger Republic. Now, because if the president has this affiliation with Niger Republic, it therefore means that our national budget must be used, part of it, to develop Niger Republic. Now, this is an issue, but before I come to you, pharmacist Iremira, somebody I know very well, a man with so much credibility, one who is one of the most outstanding ambassadors of the African, Bar Association, a very well decorated personality, one whom many of us are proud to call a father, His Excellency Ambassador Matthew Biki Uwaifu made some revelations, and I'm going to play, an excerpt of that revelation concerning, the birthplace, or rather the ancestral origin of Buhari, a man he himself know very well. Let us take a listen before I come to you, Comrade Iremira.
Because there are certain things that people don't seem to understand. I happen to know Buhari from 1982, and it's still the same Buhari that is in Abuja, I must tell you. But a different Buhari now, whose mindset is completely different. For example, let me just say it on this platform. Buhari's father is not a Nigerian. Buhari's father is from Maradi in Niger Republic. And Daura to Maradi is less than 100 kilometers. That is Daura in Katsina. Is less than 100 kilometers and less than 58 kilometers from the border with Niger. Now, Buhari's father used to sell duck, ekpekpeye in Benin. He used to sell duck, and he will bring the duck from Niger Republic to Daura, and there he met a Kanuri woman. The Kanuris are in northeast Nigeria, where the Boko Haram are fighting. And he married her and settled in Daura. So Buhari is very correct to say he has cousins, first cousins for that matter, in Niger Republic. That is true. Now, one of those cousins is Irimi. I cannot really pronounce his name. The one that set up the modular refinery in Miami, that they are sending oil from Nigeria to already illegally. They are supplying crude oil to that illegal refinery, and they refine their materials and they are bringing it across the border to Nigeria. And also to throw more light, when the borders...
Okay. His Excellency the Ambassador, raised multitude of issues on that particular clip. But what is concerning to us is that he revealed that this is where Buhari's father is from, Niger Republic. He married a Kanore woman, apparently Buhari's mother, and eventually settled down in Daura. The father was a dog seller and all of that. And so we can see very clearly, if this is anything to go by, that Buhari, is from what's it called, the Niger Republic. Now, even though if that is not a crime in our constitution, as it were, but that on the basis of that, taxpayers' money of the Nigerian state is being used to develop Niger Republic, and the president is making a case for that. Austin Remiran, I don't know what your take would be on this matter. I am troubled by it personally, to be honest.
Thank you so much, my brother Comrade Lamte. Do not be troubled. I bring you good tidings. I know that the interview during the week was very, very saddening, but there are a lot of events that has happened that we still have to be happy about in Nigeria. I think the interview by the president just further confirmed where he's from. And I think in your show by Ambassador Matthew Bikiu Waifu could not be more clear. It is crystal clear that President Buhari has affinity and is actually from Niger Republic, and the parents came, or the father came to settle in Daura. But my question to this is, we cannot take the hand of the clock back now, but it's to ask two major questions. What is it in our constitution regarding who becomes our president? So if we say he became head of state the first time by virtue of military coup, that we cannot overturn. But this is democratically, we are practicing democracy now. And how come he was able to get in and is now our president? Naturally, Lamte, the family is your first love. His father is from Niger Republic. We are seeing that first love, and he's showing everything to Niger Republic, coupled with the big situation we have in our country. Because for everything to be done and done properly, it has to pass through the National Assembly. But you agree with me that we don't have. So that's why it's easy for a president to unilaterally just take infrastructures and investment to another country or to anywhere that he likes without following due process. It is sad, but I think what we have to do going forward, if we have a new Nigeria, as we are talking about restructuring, all these things need to come into bear. Like in the United States, I know, if you are born outside the 50 states, you can never become president. So I don't know if we have such laws in Nigeria. Some other persons will also argue, well, if you live for a place for many years, you automatically become the citizen of that place, which is right and correct. But in this case,
sorry, sir. I just want to interject. I'm sorry. Now, even if the Constitution grants you the right, having lived in the place for a very long time, to become a citizen of the place, and fortune smile on you, you become a leader, a president for that matter, does the Constitution equally empower you to take the resources of the place and begin to develop a foreign land? Because by the time Constitution empowers you to become a citizen having lived in a place for a very long time, it means your allegiance is to that place. Because at the end of the day, tomorrow somebody may just wake up and take, they're already doing it, take our money and go and buy one start developing one hotel in Dubai, buy airlines in this, and we don't have any deterrent for all of these things. And
You are
suffering.
you are very correct, my brother Lamti. Hence the need that we are having these discussions now, because all these things is coming up in our country because our present president doesn't care and doesn't understand what leadership is. Even if you are from that country, you don't necessarily need to take everything and you are doing it in the open and the glaring of the eyes. So in pidgin English, we say, you don't see Nigeria finish. They know that they can get away with lots of stuff. The people empowered to do this research and talk and make case for us are not ready. So I think going forward, our new Nigeria, we need to put that in place, because Buhari may not be the only Nigerian that is following that feat. If it's been successful, many other people would have. And I know that somebody has said before, one of our military general was also from there. There's even cases, there's even a report going on to say that Abacha is also from there. So I think it's all boiled down to the system we are talking about now, which is restructuring. A proper restructured Nigeria will define this and would say who will lead us, because we are now in democracy. It is pathetic to say the least. Buhari is very nepotistic, and that is what we are seeing. Apart from that, he's a religious fanatic and a fundamentalist. So all those things put together is what is coming into fray. And of course, he has the last chunk of the Fulanis in the jail. So he thinks he has their support. And it's shameful. And if you look at this again very well, to be frank, Lamti, Buhari has not even been fair to the Northerners. The Hausas are suffering and languishing seriously, but they cannot make noise. It's only been fair to a very small few, which is just the Fulani. I can't even dare say that's why he's not interested in the events and killings happening in the Northeast. It is sad, but I throw this to the National Assembly. Thank God we are having a constitutional review now. This should be one of the items that should be revisited in our constitution.
Thank you very much, my brother Austin Eremiran. To be honest, Nigerians, I am very troubled by these developments. And I think every Nigerian should be troubled by it. And I think that this matter of being a Nigerian should be a national discourse. Should be a matter that should be tackled, not just because his heritage is that of a Niger Republic, but because this man is brazenly taking our infrastructure and money and everything to Niger Republic and is defending it, in a way that is very disturbing. And that is why many of us are very scared, that the next 2 years is probably going to be worse than the last 6 years we've seen under this administration. You understand? But still part of the interview in Grand Arise Television, the issue of open grazing in Nigeria, in recent time has led to the death of so many Nigerians. Death of so many. A lot of these terrorists, Fulani herdsmen, hide under the guise of open grazing to penetrate and enter into territories that they should have no business with and begin to kill the people. As we speak, Nigerians in the south are now afraid to go to the farm. As we speak, the fear is rising that by the end of this year, by this time next year, there's going to be shortage of food as far as the South is concerned. Particularly when we are people who are very much reliant on subsistence farming and all of that. Now our parents can no longer go to the farm to farm and probably bring some of their produce out and sell a few to the people. You understand? So this is the issue because of fear, because of the too many killings we've had under this administration, because of the open border that we have with Niger Republic, with Chad Republic, that are not being guided or manned and all of that. And today, you go to Nigeria, you can't even distinguish between who is a Nigerian and who is not a Nigerian. And in recent time, the police authorities and security personnel have apprehended a number of human beings who are not Nigerians, but coming through the Nigerian borders to come and sell arms to their brothers and their natives that are on this land, killing, perpetrating criminal activities in Nigeria. The other day, in the course of this protest, a vehicle was apprehended. People of Fulani descent were in that vehicle. They have a list of names of people in the south that they were aiming to come and kidnap with lots of weapons. They were apprehended. and all of that. So all of this continuing like this, and the influx of all these people are coming in, we thought that the president will address this in a way that at least Nigeria, we have some sense of hope. But let us hear what the president's response was on open grazing in the course of the interview with Arise Television.
Of First Republic, when people were obeying laws, there's cattle routes and grazing area. Cattle routes and the Gazette of First Republic, when people were obeying laws, there's cattle routes and grazing area. Cattle routes were when they are moving up country, north to south or east to west, they have to go through there. If you allow your cattle to stray into any farmer's farm, you are arrested. The farmer is invited to submit his claims. The alkali or the judge will say, pay. If you can't, the cattle is sold, and if there is any balance, you are given. And people are behaving themselves. And in the grazing areas, they built earth dams, put windmills, in some places even veterinary departments, so that the herders are limited. Their route is known, their grazing area is known. If they have any problem from the locality is known. But I'm telling you, this rushing to the center, people just, I think. So I asked for the gazettes, to make sure that those who encroached on these cattle routes and grazing areas will be dispossessed, and try to bring some order back into the cattle areas. The problem is trying to understand the culture of the cattle rearers. There is a cultural distance between the chiefs and the Fulanis. So the governor of Benue said, I'm not disciplining the cattle rearers because I'm one of them. I cannot refuse to say I'm not one of them, but he's been very unfair to me. And I told him that the Nigerian cattle rearer was not carrying anything more than a stick, sometimes with a machete, to cut some trees and give it to anymore. But those sophisticated ones, they are good with AK-47. So from all the Sahel areas, people rush to Nigeria, and Fulani from Mauritania or from Central Africa look the same. So they think they are Nigerian ones. And I assure you that we are trying to resuscitate these cattle routes, grazing areas, and make them accountable. And then this cancelling of taxes.
In fact, guys, that's the much I can take from that clip. Now, there are some issues the man raised there. He was asked a question about this open grazing, how Nigeria would deal with it. And his response was that he has asked that the 1963 Gazette should be revisited so that we can now look at how, the farmers and the herders, coexisted, because they were cattle routes in that time. Now he's saying that the Nigerian government will need to resuscitate those cattle routes. If there are people that have encroached on those routes, either by way of building facilities, buildings, or whatever on those cattle routes, they will be dispossessed to open the routes for cattle to be going through. And he claimed that, yes, he is one of the cattle rearers. And of course, he even indicted himself as a president that most of the people that have been apprehended, many have come from Mauritania, some have come from Chad and Niger Republic and all those other neighboring countries. And meanwhile, you are the president who is supposed to secure the border and the territorial integrity of this country. You understand? So at the end of the day, you have a president who, in 1963, Nigeria was barely, I don't even know whether we were up to 40 million. Now we are now 120 million population under the same landmass. And you are saying you want to resuscitate cattle routes. You are not talking about ranching. You are not talking about, the state, the sophisticated ways of rearing cattle. Besides that, The issue of cattle, why must it be a matter of national interest that the president will not be taking side with? When we have people who have poultry farms, they need attention. We have piggery, they need attention. We have so many other farms. Why is cattle this matter? You know, that, but that was a response given by Mr. President. Dr. Agbons, I don't really know what you have to say on this particular matter. We can barely hear you, sir. Dr. Agbons, we can't hear you.
We can't hear Dr. Agbons.
We can't hear you still.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Austin, but we can't hear Dr. Agbons.
We can't hear Tony.
Okay, he's going to log back in. Okay, let's go back to you, Austin. Austin, what do you have to say on this matter?
Thank you so much, my brother Lamte. To be frank, that interview, I've never seen anything that depressing. I told myself that on air, I was going to be very courteous of the language I will use to describe it. But I will just describe it by creating two scenarios. One, that interview came to me like somebody that has got children. You've gone on a long holiday and you are coming back and your children are full of hope, want to hear something from you or you want you to give them something. And you come home without having anything at all. That's on one scenario. Another scenario is like going to the village beer parlor only to meet an old man who has been tipsy and you start asking him questions and he's just talking with reckless abandon. Those are the two examples that I can use to compare that interview. And to zero down on what you said about ranching. Is that real? Is the president not being in Nigeria? Is he not following events of things that are happening? Was that the right answer to give? It's like we are in a technological age. You are using analog. You are talking of a Gazette of 1963 when times have changed. And like you said, the population has increased. I find it really funny. To be frank, my apologies once again to Nigerians. How this man deceived and conned most of us, myself inclusive, in 2015 to allow him to become our president. No thanks anyway to the leadership of SY President Goodluck Jonathan, who I lay all blame to for helping Buhari to make a name to get this. My brother Lamte, this man is not fit to be our president. And every other discussion will come along that line. The only good thing that came out of his interview, which of course confirmed to Nigerians, is that he is alive and I think he is in charge, because he told us that he gets intelligence report and it was really real, even though his demeanor is a bit low, but he's alive and he's in charge. And we are going to be in this for a very long haul because the agencies necessary to set this right are not doing anything. I cannot imagine where governors of the South have come out to say that they ban open grazing. The governor of Benue State has had people killed, he's made lots of statements. And the president will respond to the issue of open grazing with an analogy of a Gazette of 1963. That is beyond me. We are talking of having cattle kept and ranched in a particular area. If that's the answer that the president is giving, my brother Lamte, then we are in for trouble. The man is not abreast with things that are happening. He's just in his own world, and he has no interest of Nigerians at all.
Dr. Agbons.
Yeah. Apologies, viewers, for the glitch I had on my system here. I think Austin just took the sails out of my ship now, because watching that interview, I think the president is very, very analog. He's not in this digital community that most of us are in. And I join my brother Austin to say that after watching that interview, for a country with a lot of brilliant and clever minds, for the president to be, his level of thought, for me, he hasn't got the capacity, and I must say this without any apology to anybody. President hasn't got the capacity to be leading a diverse and a big country like Nigeria, because the 1963 analogy was drawing the fencing of the route of open grazing when we even had lesser population, like Austin was saying, or I think Lamte, you mentioned it too. When in 1963, population of Nigeria was not to 50 million. So he can't say that. Times have moved on. This president needs to move, but unfortunately, he cannot move. And for me, I have just decided that we just have to move on without this president. And then we have to find a way to get on and prepared to make sure we get somebody in 2023, because this president, if I like our people, they protest from now to Karan and Moda, is not going to step down. He even misinterpreted the NSAS protest as, oh, they wanted to use it to remove him, whereas it was against police brutality. That was the purpose of NSAS. So he's just in a world of his own. The only good thing I also joined us in about this interview is that we now know that the man is not incapacitated. He's alive and his hands and his legs are moving. He's in charge, but the capacity is not there. And let me tell our people, you cannot give what you don't have. He hasn't got it. I also joined Austin. I was one of those, because of the ineptitude of the Goodluck Jonathan government. I also one of those that was saying, oh, we needed a change, we needed somebody for 2015. And I apologize again. It's not the first time I'm doing it. I apologize for that. It was an error of assumption, and we have seen that he doesn't have the capacity. Although, however, like Austin in 2019, we never supported him, but we know how they won that election. So he doesn't have the capacity, and I'm just afraid the next 2 years is going to be a very long night for every one of us.
Still on that interview, I want to, just the last clip I'm going to play on that same interview, because there were so many things in that interview that definitely, was really, they were problematic for us to comprehend. The issue of restructuring the Nigerian state is on the top burner. The South governors met, they agreed on that, sent a message across to the president. The Southern Governors Forum met, they agreed on it, sent a message to the president. The man has not responded, and of course that matter came up in the course of the interview. And this is what the president had to say on the issue of restructuring the Nigerian state.
Are working in the first place, but they are no longer working because of correct. And that's what people are talking about, restructuring the federation to make it work. And it was part of the APC manifesto in 2015. And what is your position now on devolution of powers?
Devolution of power, you have to define it.
It's the legislative list. Take some of the things to residual and keep a few in concurrent, while have a strong defense in the center.
Well, virtually, local governments are virtually killed. You know it. The 3 tiers of government, federal, state, and local government, if they are being followed properly, we wouldn't have all these social problems. But the problem is the local government have been virtually killed. And this is not good for this country. It's not good for this country, because those who became the local government chairman have been compromised. If your local government is, say, entitled or is supposed to receive 300 million, a letter will be prepared for you to sign that you have received 300 million and you are given only 100 million.
So how can we reduce the powers of governors and give more powers to local governments? By writing a new constitution.
And reduce the powers of the president too.
While we're at it.
The president has a lot of power. Okay, I think this question of accountability is very important. The schooling, especially education, is suffering so much. If, for example, during our generation, I spent 9 years in boarding school. And the teachers then treat us as they treat their own children. If you do well, you are brought before the classroom and praised. If you misbehave, they remove your thing and plug you there in front of the class. So you just have to behave yourself. But now, one of the chaps from Ogun State, Pastor Bakari, he told me when he came back from America, he went to his alma mater, and he couldn't differentiate between the teachers and the children there. You see, the teachers used to take students as their children, and they have all the time for them. But problem, the standard virtually has collapsed. We have a lot of problems.
Working the post progress.
That was the president's response on restructuring. That he spent 9 years in school, and teachers in his days, they used to flog students if they don't behave well. That was his response. Dr. Agbons.
President, he completely lost it there. I think throughout the 45 minutes interview, there were a lot of things the president was saying, and it doesn't flow with, when you ask somebody a question and then the answer is just entirely different. So I was really worried, and looking at the mental capacity of the president. And these are some of the issues we have always talked about, for a long time about this president, because they are asking you how you will devolve power. Yeah, it's true that the states have destroyed the local government. We all know that. So as president, what will you now do to make sure that this doesn't happen? And then he's talking about boarding school and how they used to flog, and how one Bakare came from the US. So these are some of the things, Comrade. I don't want to be repeating ourselves, that it's mentally it's not there at all. I don't want to say more than that. I'm just I'll tell you, it's a very frustrating as a Nigerian to see that this is the way our president is.
Comrade Remira, this is what we have settled for as a president. Among all the intellectuals we have, all the fine people we have in this country, this is what we have as a president. Remira.
Comrade Lamte Oriahi, I want to beg you publicly. I think you've made a lot of discussions on this interview. When you were playing that interview, I was particularly looking at you. Our viewers may not have seen you, but you were crying. That's to show the depth of frustration. I hope this will be the last time that we're going to discuss it, because it's everywhere in the open. For the 45 minutes of that interview, our president never answered any question. He had his own answers made. So, like Tony said, there is no game discussing this interview anymore, because we're not going to learn anything from it. In fact, we are answering the question that was asked over a week ago. And I can imagine even the reporters that were there, some of them would have contemplated leaving the practice of journalism. Because it's really depressing. You are full of hope. It's just like telling you, Lamte, that you'll be interviewing Barack Obama tomorrow. You prepare yourself full of energy, only to go there. The person you are interviewing is like, it's something else. You'll be totally perplexed. That in fact, NBC should take that interview away from any website in Nigeria. It is derogatory. It is sad. Many of our children that are not up to 5 or 6 will not give that performance. Never. So to even talk about the fallout of it is pathetic, to say the least. This is about the 4th or 5th time, Lante, that we are bringing people together, both on a personal level, to have that discussion. Where do we really go from here? If this is what we have, then we are even lucky to still have Nigeria, because there is no diplomatic words coming from our president's mouth. There's nothing reassuring. at all. When you listen to people talk about your leaders, you want to be reassured. You want to be fortified. Nothing is fortifying us here. He's not answering any question. He doesn't even know what restructuring is. He's not interested. And as the Englishman will say, it's a lackluster display. So, my brother, it is sad, but we just have to let Nigerians know, hence we have to do this. But like we posted today, the only two things that is good about the interview is that he is alive and he is in charge. So nobody should give any excuse anymore for President Buhari. I don't know where to start from because he never answered any of the questions. How did we get here? All leaders before him should be ashamed of themselves because their action and inaction brought us to where we are. But my only worry, Lamptey, where is the hope for 2023 that is so much talked about? I don't know.
Well, Nigerians, evidently, we can see the reason why Mr. President has been shielded all this while, from public view. They don't allow him to talk to Nigerian people. They doctor the things he say. They cage him because they know that he's full of all of these kinds of things, Anyhow, because of the way Nigerian is now, presently, under the watch of this president, yesterday, June 12th, 2021, Democracy Day, was marked by the civil society groups in Nigeria, by various interested groups in Nigeria, as a day of marching out in protest against all that is happening under this mass watch. The nepotism, the lack of fairness, the lack of justice, the repression, the suffering, the economic depression, and the impunity with which Nigeria is being led today. People thrust out across the states, across various parts of Nigeria, in protests. But most of the stories we got, from across the country, across different parts of the country, were stories of, police and the authorities attacking protesters. I mean, they were just synonymous with different parts of the state, of the country. I'm going to show some excerpts of some of these things, just a few that we could lay our hands on. We may not be able to independently verify if, this protest, we are showing right now that they actually happened this yesterday. However, they were part of those things that, flooded the internet space, and reported as protests that took place yesterday. But let's take a look at a few.
Hey! So reporting once again, now from Mokola Ibadan, now we dey for your state.
It's a shame because this country. I always say that we have every means, we have everything at our disposal to be one of the top countries in the world. But we are here today because of corruption. We are here today because of the nepotism. Look at the level of insecurity that we have been dealing with since the time this administration came in till now. When Nigerians speak, they are not speaking. The government is quick to always think that Nigerians are fighting them like it's a war, and they always take it to be as if we're at war. We don't have their guns. We do not have their guns. All we have is our voice. We have our voices, and they want to take that away from us. So the government, this current administration that we are in now, do not even want any form of criticism. They do not want people to speak. There's nothing more to it than dictatorship.
One of the things you mentioned.
It's a shame because this country. I always say that we have.
Well, these are some pictures. These are from Lagos. Some of this footage. One of them was actually from Ibadan. We equally had some stories from Benin. Benin was relatively calm. There's no doubt about that. I want to quickly go to Dr. Agbons. Dr. Agbons,
solidarity forever. Everybody, we shall.
Okay, before we'll come to that. That's Edo State, Benin City. Dr. Agbon, somebody was asking just now on Facebook, given all of this happening right now, can we say that Nigeria is practicing democracy? I think that was coming from Arobonosen Kokoni.
Yes, in fact, I was just replying to Arobonosen Okokoni. Thank you for your contribution and question. The answer is a categorical no. What we are having now is a civil rule, not democratic at all. Since 99 to this time is over 20 years. Most of the gains we have even made democratically. I think in the last 6 years, we've been taking back 30 years. So if the new government come in 2023, if Nigeria is still there, there's going to be a lot of a heap for that government to scrap. We are not at all. And even in that interview, you see the president talking about constitutionality. My pain in all this thing, which I want to give as a solution, is this: let every Nigerian, we know we are agitating for Oduduwa State, Biafra, and all these other agitation. Let us also begin to prepare for 2023. So if there's still a Nigeria in 2023, so that we can use our voters card properly to get proper government in place. So we shouldn't lose focus of that. That is, for me, I want us to stop all this complaint, and then we need to start strategizing now for the next election in 2023. That is the only way to take our nation back.
Thank you very much. I want to quickly get to my brother Iremiran. Austin Iremiran. There was massive protest across the country yesterday. We saw footages of even sponsored, Nigerians. There was a particular footage of a lady saying that they were paid 1,000 naira each to come out in support of the president. And at some point, we saw clashes of Nigerians. One expressed support for Mr. President, and the other group protesting against the government, and they clashed. And I've seen footages of, I cannot just play all these things right now, but I'm sure in the course of the week, I'll get all of them lined up, and I'll play many of them. In the course of the exercise, we saw footages of police opening fire on protesters. A canister of, tear gas and stuff like that, opening on protesters. Some, whether they are live bullets or rubber bullets, we can't verify that. But we saw all of that, under this whole arrangement. And yet, this was APC government. When Jonathan was president, they massively moved Nigerians against the government of President Goodluck Jonathan. You understand? And peacefully, and they were allowed. They were not harassed. And right now, Nigerians don't even have the right to protest. Austin Iremira. How does this situate your mind?
Thank you so much, my brother Lamte. Dr. Tony Agbons has already said it that we are in civil rule. I may just go a bit further to say we are in military civil rule, if there's a word like that. Protest is nothing bad. Most of the gains that everybody has gained in the world come by protest. I have got 3 young children, one is 8. Sometimes they make protests in the house and I listen to them. And we look for a way of resolving it. How will you feel Or how will this scenario be, Lamte, if there's a protest in Abuja and the president comes out to say, I am here, I have heard your protest, I will address it. What do you think that will do to the protesters? It will calm their nerves. Why is our government scared of all this? The people protesting are not your enemies. They are protesting because they are not happy. As a government, all you need to do is to listen. Why do you devote the resources of a country, police, guns, bullets, to chase what will not improve? Ordinarily listening to protesters goes a long way. You are able to understand why they are making protests. And those ones that are violent, if they wish to attack you, can be removed. And this is the problem we just identified. I don't think if we have an educated leader and we go down this route that we are going through now. We've not talked about Edo State, but remember in the NSAS protest, there was massive protest in Edo State that was peaceful before it was hijacked and there was a jailbreak and all. What happened yesterday shows that the governor has identified and he has listened. So what happened yesterday in Edo State? Police and security agents were out to protect and give a peaceful atmosphere for protesters to make their protest. Did that not go a long way in sending the same message? Why must you destroy your own because they are crying? If the country is good, they support you. When the country is bad, you should also be ready to take the stick. It is sad, and like you pointed out, people in government now came as a result of a product of protest. Series of protests took place in Nigeria, led by the current president, and the government of the day allowed them. And of course, what happened? Nigerians saw their vision and decided to vote for them. Why are you now killing what brought you to power? We need to move on. Nigerians are very, that's why we are in democracy. It's government of the people, by the people, and for the people. If you take protest away, will not make any headway. Every government should listen. I was really surprised at Lagos that Governor Sanwo-Olu will allow that to happen. Granted, he's not in charge of the security, but he still has some control. Why did he not learn from the Baba himself, Governor Obaseki? Those are two pivotal states in Nigeria. Lagos, you can't take its position away. We should not allow this to continue to happen. You cannot cajole people to lead them. You cannot beat me to become my leader. I don't know what we need to do to let Nigerians know. If a protest is happening, you dress up as the governor or president. Yes, my people, I'm with you. What do you want? I have listened. My government will do this and do that. Why are you chasing them with military men and police? What is going to be the game? You want to kill the people you want to lead in the 21st century, in the age of technology? This is bad. And I think I want to warn our president, especially Muhammadu Buhari, by the time he leaves office, I'm very sure that the eggs will be waiting for him, because these are injustice against humanity.
I mean, look, man, I'm not planning for when he leaves office, because if this man succeeds, he leaves office, is going to go to Niger Republic, where many of us cannot reach. And that's why we can see a lot of efforts being channeled, towards Niger Republic right now, and all that. Anyhow, Edo State was special. I want to talk about Edo State separately. We monitored, the protests in Edo State. It was largely peaceful. There was no incident whatsoever. I came to understand that the civil society groups met with the authorities, the security apparatus of states, met with the government of Edo State, and strategized on how to ensure that there was a peaceful, protest, that will not lead to any form of violence, as it were. A protest that will not be hijacked by enemies of the state, and it was largely so. And at the end of the day, the protests in Edo State rounded off in the government house in Benin City. And of course, the leaders of the protests presented their petition before the government of Edo State. In fact, they were received by the deputy governor of Edo State. Let us, listen to this excerpt.
Shall be the primary purpose of governance. We concede very strongly that security is one of the items. Thank you very much, sir. We concede very seriously that security is one of the items on the exclusive list. And as such, it is within the precinct of the federal government to provide security. I commend the state for the vigilante that have been put in perspective. But we want to advocate that the insecurity on the highways, wherefrom people are dying on a daily basis. Our farmers can no longer go to the farm. Our people can no longer travel. And we need to evaporate from Benin to go to my village I cannot for fear of insecurity. The deputy governor, we also know that you also pass through that road. And you know what it feels even in the heart of your own security. We want to advocate that whereas the federal government is paying lip service, or whereas the federal government have paid, we came out this morning, we noticed that the number of securities we have on the street of Ring Road is more than the number of protesters. What that presupposes, therefore, that we have the sufficient manpower to engage this system if truly they want to. They are well dressed, well kitted on the Ring Road. But whereas on the highway, when you go there, you meet scanty individuals. Those who are sent to the highway on the basis of posting, those who do not like their face. The time to take it very serious. We must not wait until a commissioner of police is killed on that highway. We must not wait until a serving member of government is killed on that highway before this matter is taken very, very, very seriously. Today in our country, 22 years down the line of democracy, we are still on the street advocating for what is supposed to be. The quest for democracy was not simply because military regime were not providing issues of infrastructure. Better roads were built during the military regime, but to enjoy that very dividends which individuals needed to enjoy was the advocacy for democracy. Today as we speak, freedom of speech is there, but freedom after speech is no longer there. I therefore ask this government as a matter of urgency, because the deputy governor is a product of the struggle. But first rose in Nance from his own structure, and as such we know what he stands for. We ask very strongly that freedom after speech, for which individuals are free to speak, and ensure an engaged government constructively must be open. We must open the space for us, because we are not too sure of what will happen in this country anywhere, because the government have shown at the federal level to be directionless, and as such we cannot determine what happens in the next day. I want to urge the deputy governor to take this issue of security. I know your efforts are limited, but with the little you have done, we must improve on it to see how the security of that road is total. That's what they do, sir. I have the mandate of the people, because as a student of history, I appreciate the very essence of the legislature, and I feel that you are a product of the legislature. You did 8 years there. The base upon which you have made your mark is on the strength of the spring bar you had from the legislature. We want to urge that the state of our legislature in Edo State is not in good taste, and we feel that as deputy governor you can do a lot. We have seen individuals wars shooting guns, but on the table of brotherhood issues have been resolved. I urge the deputy governor that as one who is from the street, as one who is a product of the struggle, the time to ensure our various constituency, because we must now unite as a state, particularly while we no longer share that strong affinity with the federal government in terms of politics, to ensure that we hold ourselves in unison and ensure that our state is united. We must have a legislature that must continue to speak. There are so many laws that need to be attended to. There are so many things that the legislature needed to do. Representative, the issues shall be the primary purpose of governance. Solidarity forever. Everybody, we shall always fight for our right. Greatest Edo youth. Greatest Gbagba. Greatest Gbigbi. Everlasting Gaga. From the greatest of the greatest of the greatest.
Thank you. I want to salute you people in the name of the struggle this morning. I want also to greet you in the name of our fallen heroes. Today, we are all on the street protesting for good governance. And we have distinguished between the military and the civil rule. And we have agreed that what the difference is freedom of speech And democracy is for all of us. And we struggle to have democracy. And we are saying democracy must continue to exist to the extent that we have freedom of speech. Am I hearing you guys now?
Yes, sir.
I also want to address the issue of House of Assembly. You know what has happened in the past. As I speak, I don't have a representative in my constituency. Isako West constituency 2. I don't have a representative. Because these characters, when they were voted, they decided to follow a godfather. And you know, the ingredient of the struggle is to strengthen the institution. That is our major concern as activists, is to strengthen the institution. Today, godfathers have taken over democracy that you and I struggle to have. That the likes of Rason Kuti, Beko Rakonson Kuti, the Garifa any of our time, all of them struggle to have democracy. Not democracy that is controlled by a few, by a cabal. And that is what have destroyed the fabrics of the society. Today in Edo, these characters decided to follow a godfather. And you know, one of our comrades, Comrade Adams Ali Oshomole, led us in struggle in Edo, saying no to godfatherism.
Yes, sir.
But unfortunately, he now removed khaki and wear the armor of godfather. And that was what led to the kind of House of Assembly we have today. We begged them. We did everything to beg these young legislators and say, look, you are not representing one godfather, you are representing a constituency. Come back and be sworn in. Somebody far away in Lagos said the governor should issue a second proclamation which is against the constitution. How can somebody from Lagos be the one dictating for Edo people?
Cannot work.
I will say no, that Edo people must decide for themselves. And the time came, even when it was about 1 month to their exit, we reminded them. The constitution said if you don't sit for 181 days, your seat will be declared vacant. These characters still refuse. I personally reached out to them. We make noise on the news and media. I call it noise because when we were speaking in the media, they said we are making noise. We should issue a second proclamation. And we said this is what the law says. They went to court. Court said you cannot issue a second proclamation. And when court took that decision, we thought these characters would return, knowing that the court has spoken. But unfortunately, they remain. The time came, 181 days gone, 182, 215 days. And the House took a decision to declare their seat vacant. What we are saying now is that when your seat is declared vacant, the Speaker will write to INEC for election to take place in those constituencies. In Kaduna recently, the seat of the former Speaker was declared vacant. And INEC has scheduled an election for a by-election in that constituency. We are waiting for INEC. INEC is telling us that the matters are in court. Until the issues are settled in court, they cannot conduct a by-election. So that is what is holding us as far as those constituencies is concerned. For us, we would like a robust house, even when in the amendment that has been proposed from Edo, the constitutional amendment, Edo has proposed that we should shrink governance, we should shrink bureaucracy. We are not clamoring for that less members should be in the House of Assembly. We are also saying that the bicameral legislation should be reduced to just one, because recently you can see why Senate was doing their own public hearing, House of Rep was doing, and the same message that we took to Asaba, it's the same message to the senators, it's the same message we took to the House of Rep in same Asaba. So if you have only one legislative arm at the national, you didn't need to transport yourself 2 times to Asaba. Waste of funds. So for us, it's not just about freedom of speech, it's about governance should be reduced, the level of bureaucracy should be reduced so that those funds that are meant for those other ones can also be used for the development of our state. I think that is the only way we can strengthen it.
Watch your back, oh, cameraman, watch your back.
Well, that was Edo State. Like we reported earlier, you know, the protest in Edo State was largely peaceful because the government supported the protesters. provided security for them. And of course, the protest in Edo State was not hijacked. They met with the deputy governor of Edo State, and of course, they used the medium of the protest to equally raise some internal issues bordering on the politics of Edo State, and of course, the issues with the House of Assembly members, supposed House of Assembly members, who refused, to, of course, take their oath of office and serve their constituencies. And of course, the governor used the medium to equally clear the air on that matter, to let the world know what exactly is happening there, what the situation is at the moment. Dr. Agbons, in comparison with other parts of the country, particularly with what we majorly saw across Lagos State, Abuja, and some others, talking about the protests right now, how would you rate Edo State against the backdrop of all that has happened within the last 24 hours?
My brother, Comrade, huge. If I could stand up here, I would have given a standing ovation to the government of Edo State. This is what pharmacist Austin was talking about just now, and that this is what is not happening. You saw the deputy governor. He was not even on a podium. He was standing on the same ground level with the people that came to protest. This is governance, serving the people, empathy, communication, addressing the people. I can tell you, most of the people that the civil society organization yesterday, they will go back home and have a good sleep. And then they too also go and re-strategize for the better. This is what Austin was canvassing in his last speech just now. Respond to the people. Governance is for the happiness of the majority of people. You are there to serve. It's a social contract. So this is what should be replicated at the national level. I'm very proud of what happened in Edo State yesterday. People should be allowed to protest. Like Austin said, I wrote that one as a quotation for me now. He said, if the country is good, they support and praise you. If things are bad, the people has a right to protest, not going to hire hoodlums to come and destroy protests like they did with NSAS. What kind of democracy? So kudos to Edo State government. And I want to praise the deputy governor and the governor of Edo State for what they did yesterday. It was peaceful. Real kudos to Edo State government.
Austin, how satisfied are you with Edo State conduct of?
Very, very satisfied. And then Dr. Agbons has said it all. Let me also tell you, Lamte, where is common sense in all these leaders? Even if, God forbid, you are not even going to do it, having a feel and make yourself be like the protester is enough to douse tension. As a government, you must read the impulse of those you are leading. Absolutely. Just like we do in our own family. You know when madam is not happy. You know when the kids are not happy. You have to feel their impulse. That is all that governance is all about. That is it. People are making protests. Listen to them. Only when they become violent, you fish the ones that are violent and you take them away from the fray. It is simple. All the things that government has established in this world, they don't give it to you. You have to struggle to take it. Women rights, every right, there is protest. That is why we are not in a military system. What that simply says to me, Lamte, is that we are not the ones that voted these people. Because if we actually voted them, they will respect us. They don't care about our vote. Edo State governor has no place to go now because we voted him. He is aware and he knows that Edo's voted him. So he's responding to them. Unlike before when they were never voted. They don't care about me and you. And that has to change. And I want to beg our people. I know we are hungry. Let us look at the greater good. Those collecting money, 1,000, 2,000, just to support the government when you know truly in your heart you are not happy. And also for the police officers, We have come to that stage. Even though authority come from above, there come a time you question those authorities. Because it's not Buhari that is making the police to harass them in Lagos. The policemen are Nigerians, or maybe they are Nigerians. I don't know. But if they are truly Nigerians, they should realize that they are their brothers and their sisters. It's not all command from authority that you take. Like what happened in the French Revolution, like we read, when they started killing. It came a time those men says, no way, we cannot kill anymore. And they turned back to the president. And today, France is a country that we emulate. So our citizens should begin to learn. Even those those leading our security apparatchik. When you are told something, you need to have that discussion. Killing people, innocent children, like the one that happened in Lagos, if that is real. It was live bullet, my brother Lamte. The guy ran into an akara shop, and the policeman followed him into the akara shop to carry him. What has the young man done? He wasn't harmed. Even if he was harmed, he hasn't killed anybody. He's only making a protest. So it's a win-win situation for us. I'm so proud to come from Edo State, and I believe this will be like a litmus test for other states to emulate. Kudos to the governor.
And kudos to Edo people and the protesters too. Well, Nigerians across the world, it's been the Comrade show, and it's the Comrade and Friends. We've tried to look at some of the issues, matters arising in the course of the week. And we've looked at the President of Nigeria, his disposition to the Nigerian state, and his governance, what his governance reflects. We didn't talk about his response on Biafra issues, but for many of us who have seen the video, of course, we know what that is. As a matter of fact, he did address Biafra as a dot in, is it in a teacup, he said, or something, but he just treated the Biafra agitation, as something insignificant, and I was going to deal with them. The tone struck by the president across all areas, they were not, befitting of one that is called a president, and that is the truth. Of course, in the course of the week, we're going to be having some more, analysis of, situations, particularly with the protests, and of course, I'm going to try to bring some, some images, just to, corroborate the points we've made here. We've given kudos to the government of Edo State, with the way Edo State government and the people of Edo State, civil society groups, and everybody came together to manage the protest yesterday. It was healthy, it was beautiful, nothing was destroyed, no act of incidents was reported. Everybody is happy, the protest is fulfilled. Of course, it remains to be seen what the result of the protest across the nation is going to give birth to, as it were. Having said that, I want to say it's been the Comrade and Friends, the one that one of the musketeers, Comrade Iremira, called Sunday Tonic. We'll come to the end of this show, and of course, I'm going to definitely thank the comrades for always being available for us to carry out this ritual. On that note, I want to call on. I'll start with Comrade Pharmacist Austin Iremira. To just say a parting word for this weekend, so that by next week we'll be on ground again. Comrade Iremira.
Thank you so much, my brother Lamte. First, I want to commend you for that swift move yesterday for our brokers on June 12th, and all the efforts that you've been making towards Edo State and indeed Nigeria. I don't know, but I want to appeal because I can see that you are really down with that interview. If there's a way we can just avoid it so that we can see a more bright picture of Nigeria, that would be good. And for our viewers, thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to be here, and also to thank our erudite scholar, Dr. Tony Agbons. Have a good week, enjoy yourself, keep safe, and remain vigilant. Nigeria will be better, certainly.
Thank you very much, Austin Iremira. Of course, in the house, we equally have, another very foundational musketeer of the Comrade show. He's been Comrade, Dr. Tony Agbons.
Thank you, my brother, Comrade Lamte Ikpomosa Oriaki. our chief anchor of this show. I want to join Austin to thank you for all you are doing, not just for our state, Edo State. Your energy, your dynamism, and tenacity is, in fact, I've lost adjective now to describe. Sometimes we need to also give praises when praises are due. God bless you, my brother. Thank you, my brother Austin, for all your deposition today. Very spot on and apt. God bless you too. And our audience all over the world, especially those that were making contributions. I was trying to like a lot of them as time permit. Thank you so much. You are the reason for this show. We appreciate you all. Do have a lovely week ahead. God bless you.
Thank you, my brother, Dr. Tony Agbons. Of course, like Tony Agbons said, without you guys, we wouldn't be here. We are here because you're there. You guys, everybody has been very busy. You know, I've been seeing a lot of comments, even questions. Arobonos of Okokoni, I thank you very much. Gospar, Jumbo Muji, thank you. Oris King, thank you. Derry, thank you so very much. My lovely, wonderful sister, one I'm hoping to meet someday. Hopefully, I'm going to be in the US in July. I will try to reach out to you by the grace of God. Talking of patience, Irabo, I thank you so very much. You've been very wonderful, very wonderful. You are a light angel yourself. One of the foundation, what's it called, support base of the Comrade Show. I thank you. Slice Sylvia, thank you so very much. You guys are wonderful. These are guys on Facebook. Oh yeah, Henry, thank you so very much. Bridget, Korama, thank you. I see you as well. God bless you. Didi, Felicia Iboigbe. Felicia, thank you so very much. Felicia, hopefully, I don't know. I'm going to be in Spain on Monday. I'm going to be having some tour from next week. I know you live in Italy. I don't know if time permits me. I will come to Italy, and if I do, I will reach out to you. You'll be very wonderful as well. Thank you so very much, because I like to want to, whenever I'm in any country, I'm going to want to see some of the, friends of the Comrade Show we have in those countries, just to have a chat. On YouTube, we've got Meru, we've got Tina Conca, thank you so very much. Joy Usasa, thank you. Buki, thank you so very much. You've been a very wonderful, supporter, of our YouTube channel. Ima Odion, I equally see you. Matthew, Mark, Joy Usas, you guys have been excellent and splendid. Thank you so very much. My name is Comrade Lamte Ikmongusa Oriahi, and it's been a Comrade Show. By the grace of God, we're going to be here again next week. But in the course of the week, I may have cause to be here again and again and again until next week Sunday. Until then, I want to say bye for now, and may God bless you. Please keep supporting the Comrade Show. Share our broadcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook. Always remember to click on the notification button, because on this dial, if they not rest, we not go rest. We will keep on discussing national issues and, of course, discussing issues and projects that will move Edo State to the next level. Thank you. God bless you, and bye for now.
Make Comrade Show way. Comrade Lamte Oriahi. Live on Facebook and YouTube. Like us, follow us, and be the first to know. This is the Comrade Show. Make Comrade Show way. Comrade Lamte